Izzy Stradlin, the elusive rhythm guitarist and co-founder of Guns N' Roses, was never the loudest figure in the band, but in many ways he was its very core, quiet, composed, and yet responsible for shaping the raw, dangerous sound that turned Appetite for Destruction into a cultural phenomenon. While his bandmates grabbed headlines with wild antics and drama, Izzy remained in the shadows, crafting lyrics born from personal experience, stories of addiction, survival, and broken dreams. Born Jeffrey Dean Isbell in Lafayette, Indiana, Stradlin grew up with a restless spirit and soon found a kindred soul in Axl Rose, with whom he escaped to Los Angeles in search of something greater. Together, they helped build one of the most notorious rock bands in history, but fame came with a heavy price. As the band's success soared, so did the chaos. Drugs, alcohol, and dysfunction consumed Guns N' Roses. Although Izzy was once deep in that lifestyle, a turning point came in 1989 after a drug-fueled incident on an airplane led to his arrest. He chose sobriety and clarity, only to find himself out of place in a band that was still trapped in self-destruction. When no one else seemed willing to change, Izzy quietly walked away in 1991, just as the Use Your Illusion era reached its peak. There was no public breakdown, no dramatic announcement. He simply vanished from the machine he had helped create. The band barely reacted at first, but it wasn't long before the absence of their anchor became apparent. Izzy's departure marked more than just a lineup change. It symbolized the end of the band's creative balance. He chose personal peace over fame, but that decision led to a slow erasure from the spotlight. Over the years, Izzy released several solo albums, some of which were artistically brilliant yet largely ignored by mainstream media. He refused interviews, avoided public appearances, and famously declined participation in major GNR reunion tours. While his former bandmates like Axl, Slash, and Duff eventually found redemption and returned to stadium stages, Izzy remained distant, a ghost of rock's golden age. His reasons were personal, perhaps even spiritual, a desire to live on his own terms without the noise. Yet that same silence contributed to his gradual disappearance from public memory. Today, Izzy Stradlin is often forgotten in the larger GNR narrative, despite being one of its most essential architects. His story isn't marred by scandal or destruction. It's quieter, sadder. It's the story of a man who walked away from the chaos to save his soul, only to be erased from the legend he helped build. And in that quiet absence lies the real heartbreak, the tragedy of how the soul of Guns N' Roses slipped away unnoticed, uncelebrated, and largely unacknowledged. Izzy didn't burn out. He faded, leaving behind a haunting silence that still lingers in the band's legacy. His departure remains one of rock's greatest what-ifs, and perhaps its most quietly devastating loss.